And there we go, we're recording. So welcome to Painting Through the Pandemic. I'm Shauna Sue. I own Crooked Door Studio in lovely uptown Marysville, Ohio. Getting lovelier all the time with new businesses coming in. And now that we're getting on the, hopefully, fingers crossed, the far side of the pandemic, we're going to start to see more activity uptown. We have been painting through the pandemic since our last class in the studio was Friday the 13th in March of 2020. That was our last public class in the studio. We're testing the waters now with a few private paint parties. Those are going well. So if everything continues on the track it's on, we're going to be able to get back in the class in June, back in the studio physically in June. But my plan is to continue to record and do Zoom also at the same time. If Zoom attendance drops way off, then we'll move on to something else. But June, fingers crossed. Okay, so I put some stuff over in the chat box. Our list of supplies is over there. We're going to go through it all, okay? Places where you can donate to the studio. I always like to thank everyone that has donated to the studio. I know a lot of you do. You're the reason that we have a physical studio space to go back to in June. The donations that you guys send, that's enough that it has helped me pay my rent and utilities and have my space there for all of us to go back to and play. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for that, for helping this small female business owner save her business through a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. I appreciate you all for that. Thank you. Something else that's super exciting that's in the chat box is I have a link to our new merchandise store. One of our local businesses, Graphic Stitch, is managing our merchandise store. So when we get in a drying break or whenever you're tired of listening to me, pop on over there and check it out. The merchandise store will be open through the month of May. It's a short, limited thing. And then it closes. When it closes, everything goes to production. And then you'll be able to pick stuff up at the studio for the Friday night uptown in June 11th, I do believe. It's the second Friday night in June. And you'll be able to come see me at the studio. If you're not local, there's a shipping option too. Okay, so let's go through our supplies, shall we? First things first, y'all are painting at home. You're in your own personal spaces. I'm painting at home. You can see my living room right over there. Since we're all painting at home and we're not necessarily in a studio space, let's take a moment and look around, check your surroundings, make sure you don't have anything that you're super concerned about if you get paint on it, okay? The paint that I'm using Blick Student Acrylic. I'm hoping that's not backwards for you, but even if it is, you can probably get thanks, Marie. You can get the gist. This is what I use. Marie, you like that? I have you up in my top corner, right? So you can see what kind of paint I use. This is what I use. This is what we use at the studio. It's nice because it's relatively inexpensive as far as paint goes. It's relatively inexpensive to buy. I can buy it by the bucket, right? It's great to learn with because it's inexpensive. You don't have to worry so much about wasting it, right? If you order paint from the studio, I still have the supply cabinet in the back. So if you need supplies, you let me know. I'll take care of you. This is the paint that you get. The one thing that we really don't like about this paint is because it's student grade, it's very transparent. So we have to add white to it to make it more solid, to make it more opaque. We'll talk about that more in a little bit, but I just wanted to share with you, this is the paint that I use at the studio and the paint that I give you. And anyway, it's what I use. Okay, so we've checked our surroundings. We've made sure we're not standing on like grandma's antique rug, nothing we're super concerned about if we get paint on. Perfect. Apron. Aprons are in the merch store, by the way, if you need an apron. They're black. They're embroidered with a white Crooked Door logo. Super fancy. Anyway, apron, paint, shirt, that's all cared for. Okay, canvas. Our painting that we're going to do tonight, I think it works well either way. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'll show the inspiration picture in just a moment. But this painting, you can do it horizontal, you can do it vertical, landscape or portrait, doesn't matter. Think about where you're going to put it when you're done with it. If you have a spot in your house, in your office, somewhere that will accommodate landscape, well, then that's what you'll do tonight. I think I'm going to go vertical tonight. I don't know why, it just feels like that's what I want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I will try to remind you as you go. If you have a stretched canvas, I'll try to remind you to paint your edges. You can either paint them or not. There is no halfway, right? Paint your edges or don't paint them. What you never want to do is start painting your edges and then stop. That looks sloppy and unfinished. So I'll try to remind you to paint your edges. It's easier to paint them as you go than it is to try to match up those colors later. It always looks nice if you wrap your paint all the way around your canvas. Sorry, I have a bulldog down here on the floor making noises because the chickens are out and they're teasing her evidently. So every now and then she gives a noise like she might bark, but she's not going to bark. Oh, and then she'll stop. Anyway, okay. So, sorry, the ADHD is strong tonight. I apologize for that. Sorry. Okay. Oh, there she goes. There's her bark. So canvas, paint shirt, apron, canvas. I have a water cup that's halfway full of cool or cold, never warm or hot. If you paint often or you're going to paint more, just designate an old mason jar or a coffee cup. I like this because it's heavy. I'm less likely to knock it over because I'm not the most coordinated person. Brushes. Let's talk about brushes. Really, any brushes you have tonight are going to work. You can play with whatever you have, but here's what I'm going to use. I have my big wash brush. This is a big oval wash. Yours might be flat, might be angled, might be a different shape, but you're looking for the biggest brush you have, right? We're going to use this one to cover the whole background, basically. Okay. And then two other brushes. I have a medium, like a medium filbert brush. Maybe the only thing I'll use that for is the sun moon, right? Maybe a little bit in the water. And then I have a nice pointy brush. This is my number 5 round. Yours might be bigger, might be a different number, might be bigger, might be smaller. The most important part of this is to make sure it comes to a really nice pointy tip. Okay, that's going to be really helpful when we start practicing on some of those branches. We're going to want to get some really fine branches around the edges. So those 3 brushes, when I'm not using those brushes, they're going to live in the water cup. Just going to dump them in there, leave them there. I'll wash them out. I'll wash everything out when we're done painting, but for now, that's where they're going to live. Okay. Paper towels. I've got a little stack of paper towels down here to dry my brushes off on. And then paint. Let's talk colors tonight. I have blockout white, a nice bright yellow. I think it's chrome yellow, chrome orange, just a nice pretty orange. Red. I'm using bright red. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, and black. You can use really whatever colors you want. My guidance to you on colors is be careful with your red. I'm going to mix my red with my blue to start my sky in purple. If you're not sure, if you have never used your red to mix with blue to get purple, you might do that on your plate or do that on your napkin, do that someplace to make sure that that red and blue are going to make purple and not poop. Okay, that's the first poop of the night. So I know, right, Marie? I love having you up there in my corner, by the way. So if you have a red that leans further orange, you're not going to be able to use it for purple. Okay, if you're not sure, do a little mix, pull a little red and a little blue, add a little white to it and see if you can get a lovely purpley color. If not, we'll leave the purple out altogether and you'll just start with pink. Okay, so those are my colors. Something else that you might have, not sure if I'm going to use them or not, but I have some extra paper towels. I feel like I might use these to stomp around the edges for my leaves. I have them. I might use a brush, not sure. I'm kind of liking the idea of the paper towels. So a couple extra clean paper towels. And then let me grab our inspiration picture and let me give you a little roadmap for how we're going to do this. I guess it is a little more vertical than it is horizontal. You can really do this painting either way, vertical or landscape. And I'm not sure, my husband asked me if it was a sunrise. The moon would radiate. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to start at the top, right? There's that little bit of purple up there. If you can't get purple by mixing your red and blue, you're going to start with just pink, okay? So we're going to go purple, and we're going to transition down into pink, and then down into some orange, yellow, and then back into a little bit of orange at the horizon. Then we're going to put our water in there. We're going to cover that whole canvas, that whole thing. Okay. Then we'll come up and we'll put our sun in. We'll radiate out from there. We'll put some light down in our water. Might even put a little bit of land right there. You don't have to have the land there at the horizon if you don't want, but I'm going to put some in. And then we're going to work on our branches, right? That's where it's going to be nice to practice some of those really fine branches. We'll practice with that small brush, and then we'll get all of our leaves on there. That's how this is going to work. So that's enough chat. Let's get started, shall we? Marie, I'm a minute over. Ooh, dioxide purple. That's good. You don't even have to mix your red and blue, Kim. You just use that purple. So let's find our big brush. Anytime I start, whether it's a new brush or an old brush, I always tap, tap, tap in the water cup. I want to soften that guy up a little bit, right? And then dry it off on your paper towel. Let's push the water out. Now, anytime you take paint, remember on your paint palette, always in the edge, never the middle. You don't want to mess everything up, right? Always in the edge. So I'm going to take some red, just a little bit, and a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue. That phthalo blue is powerful. So a tiny bit of blue, just kind of pulling them together there. All right. You're right, Marie. And then I'm going to take some white. Right, I've got it all on my brush. So red, tiny bit of blue, and some white. And let's start here at the very top. And as we go back and forth, we're going to get a lovely purple. Oh, that's pretty. Now you get to decide what your sky is going to look like. Most of my brush strokes are going to be pretty parallel to the top and bottom, right? Side to side. You can shake that up a little bit if you want. You can sweep it a little bit if you want to. That's up to you. I think I might like it sweepy a little bit like that. And that movement is an infinity sign, but I'm picking up on the sides. So it's like I'm creating an infinity sign. It's a really flattened out X. Now you may feel like I'm going to start to move fast. The reason I'm going to start to move fast now is because acrylic paint blends while it's wet. Once it's dry, it will not blend. Once it's dry, it turns into plastic. It won't blend anymore. You can't re-wet it and get it to move around. It's not like watercolor. So I'm going to have to move into my next color while that's still wet. Before I do that, though, I'm going to get my edges. Have you decided? Are you going to paint your edges? If you have decided to paint them, let's get up there. Let's get them. Again, it's easier to do it now than it is to try to match it up later. Get over there on that side. That side. And if you're on a 16 by 20 canvas and you're looking for a measurement, I'm going to take that purple down about 3 fingers. About. Okay. So if we look at our inspiration picture, it's got that purple right at the very top. We're going to keep working into our next color, next color, next color. About 2/3 of the way down is our horizon line. Either a third up or 2/3 down, not in half. We don't want to split the canvas in half. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to bring my my sky down to here. This is about where my water's going to start. I'm always thinking 2 steps ahead, right? So now I want to move into some pink. I'm going to take my brush when I'm done with my purple. Not going to rinse it out. I am going to wipe it off though. I'm just going to go wipe on my paper towel. Just wipe. I want to make sure I don't have any big chunks of blue because that phthalo blue is so powerful. It's going to be really hard for me to move into pink if I still have chunks of blue in there. So I just wiped it on my paper towel just to make sure I don't have any big chunks. And I'm going to get ready to move down into pink. I'm going to take some red that doesn't have blue in it. So I'm going to go over here on this side. And I'm going to take some white that doesn't have purple in it. Okay, red and white. Now to blend, let me show you how we blend. When we blend so we don't have stripes, we start with our next color in the new section, right? Now, if I just stop there and I keep moving down, I'm going to wind up with stripes of color. So let me get nice and close so you can see. I start in the new section. I backtrack up into the old section just a little bit, picking up some of that wet paint and coming back down. This is why we have to blend while it's wet. I'm going to go up into that purple a little bit and back down. Up into that purple a little bit and back down. It's interesting. People seem to think when they paint something, like once they paint it, they're done with it. That's not the case with blending. People are afraid to move back up into what they've already painted. You have to blend. Go up a little bit and down. And I'm going to keep going with that pink about 1/3 of the way down, and then I'll transition into orange. Okay, so some more red, a little more clean white, new section, up into the old just a little, and back down. It's always 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step up, 2 steps down. It's like a little dance we do. And edges, don't forget your edges. So now we should be getting pretty darn pink down here. We should be losing, by the time we're about 1/3 of the way down, we should be losing that purple. If you're not losing that purple, wipe your brush off again. Red, clean white. And when I'm about 1/3 the way down, I'm gonna pause. Let you guys get down there with me. Get my edges. Oh, that's pretty. Those colors are pretty. Okay. I'll give you another minute or so. Again, you may feel like I'm rushing, and I don't mean to, but I know I have to keep moving while that paint is wet. Because once it's dry, it will not blend. Okay. So I'll give you another minute to do that. I'm going to go provide some bulldog assistance. I'll be right back. Hi, sweet pea. Come to bed. Okay, let's go. Let's go say hello. Let's go see everyone. Okay, here's the bulldog. I talk about her so much. I feel like you guys needed to see her. That's my Gertrude. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? What is happening? All right, let's go to bed. Here you go. Oh, good girl. Yeah, that's my my special needs bulldog. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, making sure that I don't have any chunks of purple. My brush should look pretty pink. Because now I'm going to head into orange. Keeping in mind that my sky is going to stop about 2/3 of the way down. So I'm going to transition from the pink into orange, some yellow, and then back into orange at my horizon. I get my brush, take some orange, some clean white, working my way around that puddle of white. In the new section, back up into that pink a little bit to pick it up, back down. Right? 1 step backwards, 2 steps forwards. If you start to get a little poo color, wipe that brush off. Orange, green, white. Okay. So again, my water is about 1/3 of the way up from the bottom, about 2/3 down. So now I'm going to transition into some yellow white and then back into a little bit of orange white. And I'm going to stop about 2/3 of the way down. Yellow, white. Remember, 2 steps forward, 1 step, or I should say 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Some yellow, some more white. Oh, edges. If you've decided to paint your edges, don't forget. Again, easier to do it now than it would be to try to match them up later. Get an eye on where my water is going to be. About there. About there. A little more yellow, white. And then right down at my horizon, I'm going to start to add a little bit of orange back in. So yellow, white, little orange. It's interesting. I'll do a painting like this and I'll have like the whole sky done, and I'll just feel done with it. I'll be like, that's beautiful. I'm done. I don't feel the need to put anything back over top of it. And I've done that before. Started to work on a sky painting and just stopped because it was just too pretty the way it was. All those beautiful colors. Then we get another canvas and we do something else. Okay. Again, about 2/3 of the way down. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good with where I'm at. So I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to put my brush in my water cup. And let's give you, how about 10 minutes, 9 minutes. How's that sound? So 20 till, we'll move on. If you're done and you're ready to move on, just catch your breath, right? Absolutely. So our colors, we started with that purple at the top, right? And I never rinsed my brush out. I wiped my brush off, but when I'm blending colors together, I won't rinse my brush out unless I have, it's a long story. I won't rinse my brush out unless I had started with phthalo blue, because I know that phthalo blue is so powerful. By the time I got down into the orange, I would have probably had a muddy mess. I'd have had to rinse my brush out. But for this, I didn't. I just wiped the excess paint off. So I started with bright red and a tiny bit of phthalo blue to get that purple. And then I moved into red and white to get that pink. And then down into orange and white, yellow and white, and then finished off with a little bit of orange and white right there at the horizon line. And this painting, I have this yellow white section right here because I know that's where my sun is going to go. It's a little brighter to the side. I think that'll be okay. So again, red and phthalo blue, tiny bit of phthalo blue to get that purple, down into the red and white to get that pink, then orange and white, and then down into, I can't point, here we go, yellow and white, and finish out with a little bit of orange and white at the horizon. It's the romper room portion of the evening. I see Marie, and I see Andrea, and I see Dawn, and I see Kim, and Julie, and Emily. What are we having for dinner, Emily? Oh, 2 Emilys. Oh, double Emily. You guys are the diagonal Emilys because you're diagonal on my screen. Sorry. Oh, Chinese sounds good. So have you had Ramsey's Pizza? You're not in Marysville though, are you? No, okay. So everyone on Facebook talks about their favorite pizza place. Gotcha. Well, it's not too terribly far. I was thinking you were in Columbus. It's on Northwest Parkway. So it's closer your direction than it is here. But everybody talks about Ramsey's Pizza. It's a drive-through. They have a patio and stuff too that you can eat out on the patio. But I've heard so many people talk about it that we ordered pizza from there last night. It's really good. It was really, really good. Yeah. You need to give it a try. It was not cheap, but it's not a franchise. It's a one-off, locally owned, but it was really good. I'm a pepperoni mushroom extra cheese kind of girl. I didn't order extra cheese, and I did not need to say extra cheese. It had tons of cheese on it. And the pepperoni's on top, so it gets like little cups of grease. It's pretty good. I would do it again. It was expensive, but I would do it again. The crust was really good. A lot of sauce, like a lot of sauce, and the sauce was really good. Oh, Tubby's. Yeah. I've told you about Tubby's though, right, Andrea? That I grew up on Tubby's. I feel like we've talked about this before. Oh, Buckeye subs are good. Yeah. Buckeye Family Pizzeria. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I grew up on Tubby's. We have about 4 minutes before we move on. If you haven't joined us before, this is the portion of the evening where I tell stories and we just talk, because it's an important part of the process to breathe, step away from it for a minute, let it dry, don't overwork it. And I am the most extroverted introvert you will ever meet. So I will talk your ear off. Unless I see you in person, then I will avoid you at all costs. Right, Marie? Extroverted introvert. So if I ever see you out in public, anybody on here, and I don't make eye contact, it's not you, it's me. Ooh, the bread is to die for. Full sale. Wait, I missed that. Oh, Jan and Tony's. I'll have to try that. I've heard of Jan and Tony's, but I've never been. Box sub buns. Sub party. Huh. You just need friends to be able to split the box of sub buns with, right? Okay. Dawn, you have to let me know that I'm a bread girl, Andrea. I would split bread with you. If it is that good, they're sub buns, I would split the bread with you. 2 minutes. You have to let me know what kind of pizza to order at Jan and Tony's. Do they have like a special? Like my favorite right now at Benny's is their gyro pizza. Or if you're from Ohio, their gyro pizza. I watched something last night and the one said gyro and the other one said gyro. Oh, are you going to have pumpkins? Is Phyllis going to have pumpkins, Andrea? We got their fence done, so now I need pumpkin seeds. Oh, I bet they will. You don't have chickens that'll eat the sprouts. You should have pumpkins. Oh. Yeah, the gyro pizza at Benny's is really good. Ooh, the BLT pizza at Jan and Tony's? Okay, good to know. I will try that. I love food, right? Yes, Andrea, let me know. I love food, right? No secret here. Chubby girl loves food, but I love to go to eat with people and have other people order for me. That's so much fun. I'm not a picky eater, not at all. Okay, there are a few things I won't eat. Like this is not like a let's dare and see what we can get her to eat. It's not that kind of game. But I won't eat meat off the bone. So you can get me chicken wings, but you got to peel them off the bone for me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I love to go to eat with friends and have other people. That's something COVID has taken from me. But now that we're all getting vaccinated, we're getting back to some kind of normal that we can do that again. Oh, and then go to eat with friends and order an entire table of desserts and everybody has a fork. Okay, 7:40. Y'all know this is just water in my cup, right? It's nothing special. It's got like a powder in it that I keep stirring. Anyway, ADHD. 7:40. Let's get ready to move on. I'm going to finish this out with water. So I want to check, make sure I don't have any fat rolls of paint here, right? Okay. I'll clean that big brush out. And let me pull the inspiration picture here real quick. Part of what adds a little touch of realism to this is if we get a little darker at the horizon. So by going from yellow and white back down into a little bit of orange, right? That's going to get a little darker at the horizon. We're going to start with a darker blue and then add a little more white as we move down toward the bottom. That's going to keep it darker at the horizon. By having it darker there at that horizon line, that pushes the horizon back a little bit, right? Pushes it away from you. And that's what we want. Okay. So I'm trying to decide, am I going to do just blue and white? Am I going to add a little bit of phthalo green in there? Phthalo blue and phthalo green like make a lovely turquoisey color. Let's see what happens. I'm going to take that big brush, clean it out. So I'm tapping it in the bottom of the water cup. Tap, tap, tap. Then I'm going to dry it off on my paper towel. And the thing that makes this look like water is a very parallel to the bottom, side to side brush stroke. In the sky, we could play a little bit and sweep that brush stroke a little. In the water, you got to stay parallel to the bottom. Your brush strokes want to be side to side. So I'm going to start with phthalo blue. I think I'm going to add a little bit of phthalo green, just a little bit, because I like the idea of a little bit of turquoise in the water. And I'm going to go side to side. Now, as I work my way down, I'm going to take more blue, a little bit of white. So some more blue. I like a little bit of green in there, just a little bit. A little bit of white. Just a little bit of white to start. You can add more as you go down. But let's start, we want to make it gradual. Side to side. I'm kind of excited now about trying a BLT pizza at Jan and Tony's. Kind of excited about that. So by the time we're done with this step, your whole canvas will be covered. Now you may think, well, that's silly. Why do I have to paint all the way down in those bottom corners? Because they're covered, right? You're not going to see the water down there. That's so just in case you have a little bit like peek through when we start to put our shrubbery down there. When we start to put our shrubbery down there, if we have a little peek through, you won't see naked white canvas. You'll see water. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's cover that entire bottom. Blue, little green, if you want. and some more white, side to side. Adding a little more white each time. Okay. And then if you decided to paint your edges, don't forget those edges. Andrew, I love that you called them Phyllis's pumpkins, by the way, because we all know they're for Phyllis, right? Who I have decided Phyllis might be a wizard, magician, witch. I'm not really sure. I'll have to tell you the full story in a minute, but I looked out the window and she was out front, and I turned my back and I looked out back and she was out back. I don't know how she got from one part of the property to the other as fast as she did. Therefore, she's a witch. Just stepping over here to the side to get my edges painted. And the question comes up, do I want to paint the bottom edge? You can now if you want with the blue, that's up to you. I don't know that I'm going to. I think I could just wait and paint it with that dark black green that we're going to use for the shrubbery at the bottom. So I think I will probably wait and paint the bottom edge like one of the last things I do with that black green we're going to use. But at this point, my entire canvas is covered. Okay. So how about we want to let things dry a little bit. How about we take a break? I'm thinking this, let's think this through, because our next step, well, I'm done with this. So I'm pop this in the water cup. So let's think this through. I want to put my sun in next, and my glow for where my sun is going to live. And then wherever my sun is, I want to put the light that it's casting in the water. So I want my water to be dryish. And then I will finish by putting the greenery around the edges. So yeah, let's take a drying break. So how about 8 o'clock? That's 12 minutes. Oh no, let me see, Dawn. To everybody that wasn't paying attention, that sounded awful, didn't it? I was like, oh no, and then just started laughing. Dawn's cat jumped in her plate of paint. Everything's okay though, right? Did we get the cat? Is the cat leaving footprints everywhere? Oh, painting with critters. It's always magical, isn't it? Oh. Okay, so while we're on a little bit of a break, threw him right out the door. Oh, he didn't mean it. He was just curious. Okay, so I will occasionally work outside on my back deck, and the chickens will come and check to see what I'm doing. And you may think you're prepared for a chicken to fly up your back. You are never prepared for that, I assure you. You think you're okay with it when it happens, and then when it finally happens, you're like, oh God, what just happened? Chickens shouldn't fly up your back. Oh, I love that. We may have to go take a picture of that, Dawn. You may have to take us on a field trip. But yeah, that's my issue. My bulldog's a special needs, so she doesn't jump up. She has bum back legs, so she's not a jumper. Oh, so you don't keep bugs off the canvas if you're painting outside. It's something that just happens. We like to call that mixed media. when you wind up with little bug carcasses. It's usually little gnats. You wind up with little bug carcasses in your paint. Happens. Just gives extra texture. But yeah, chicken, I like to be outside, and then the chickens will join whatever I'm doing, whatever meeting I'm doing, whatever, because they're curious, they're nosy. So part of the story I was going to tell earlier that I have to tell you now, they got a fence. It's very exciting. We'll see if they stay in the fence, but they got a fence. They got their own fenced yard. Mainly because I'm tired of stepping out on my back deck and walking through chicken poop. Tired of that. That's got to stop. It's gross. So everybody got fenced in. We'll see. Tomorrow will be their first fully fenced day. We'll see how they do. Any bets on who the first one is to fly the fence? Phyllis. It's got right, Andrea. It's going to be Phyllis. Oh, Phyllis. For those of you that aren't sure about Phyllis and why we talk about Phyllis all the time, you'll have to do a Google search. Yeah, see, we're gonna have to trim some wings. We're gonna have to clip wings if that happens, if they fly over the fence. I have 3 that I'm pretty sure will fly over the fence. They're the smaller girls. The big girls, they'll be perfectly content in the fence. Oh, Wiz. Hi, sweet Wiz. Everybody look at Marie's screen. Oh, Whizzer. Hi, Whizzer. Hi, sweet Wiz. Oh, Marie, he's getting so big. Oh, he was a puppy a hot second ago. He's almost a dog now. Oh, so we have about 9 minutes. We're going to move on at 8 o'clock. You want to make sure your whole canvas is covered. Circle back around. For those of you that don't know who we're talking about when we talk about Phyllis, you'll have to do a Google search. Look up buff laced Polish chicken. She's special. Buff laced Polish chicken. She's blonde. She's lovely blonde. She has this ridiculous hairdo. And she's special. Okay, so about 8 minutes, we're going to move on at 8 o'clock. I'm going to make sure your whole canvas is covered. You want to be done with your water, done with your sky, because now we're going to start layering things on top. And once you start putting things on top, you don't want to mess with what's underneath. So when I say layering things on top, I want my sky to be done because I'm going to put my sun on there. If you're nervous about your round abilities, you might find something to trace for the sun. I'm thinking like the size of a Keurig K-cup. Water bottle lid might be too small. Paper towel tube, toilet paper tube. That's about the size we're going to use for the sun. I'm going to wing it, see if I can get it round. We'll see. So layering things on top, we're going to layer our sun on there, and then we're going to put the light that is cast into the water. We're going to put that down in there. And we don't want to mess with the sky or the water anymore, right? We want to have those done before we move on. So about 7 minutes. Okay. Oh, she is a survivor, Andrea. She went all the way to Mardi Gras and made it back. She, so when we have a chicken disappear, I say they've gone to Mardi Gras because I want to believe they're out there living their best life. Not that something tragic happened, but that they're just partying somewhere. So we didn't have them all that long, and Phyllis disappeared. And I was so worried about her because she's a big old target. She's a big old target for predators, and she's so oblivious. She has so much, I'm not allowed to call it hair because that makes my husband crazy, but she has so many feathers up here. She can't see real well. And we've tried to trim them and we've tried to pin them back, and they just grow right back in. And we hadn't had them all that long and she disappeared. Oh, Julie, so they are, Ontario. Okay, pause. Hold that thought, Julie. So Phyllis disappeared, like right when we hadn't had the chickens all that long. And I put this big Facebook post out about how she was gone to Mardi Gras, and Godspeed, Phyllis, right? Live your dream. You go party, sister. And then she showed back up the next day. I have no idea where she was at. I don't know how she didn't get eaten, but she showed back up. We found her like a full 24 hours later. This is what I do when I have something that I don't want to forget. So later when I'm like, guys, why are my fingers crossed? Remind me, apron shipping. So that happened to Phyllis not long after we had her. 4 minutes, by the way, and we're going to move on. And then not long ago, I went out to check on the chickens, and Phyllis had blood all over her back end, like murder scene, like Tarantino level blood everywhere. It was not good. I was like, oh dear God, I thought she was dead. Somebody pulled a feather. She pulled a feather, and feathers bleed. I didn't know feathers bled. It's a whole thing. So anyway, Phyllis is drama. She's nothing but drama. Whew, drama. Okay, because she's a witch, right? She's all about the drama. Anyway, apron shipping. So when Graphic Stitch, to answer your question, Julie, I think so. When Graphic Stitch set up my store, our local place here, set up my merchandise store, that's something they were supposed to check on for me, because I knew I had friends from out of country that come on and paint with us occasionally. And I asked them if that was an option. And my friend at Graphic Stitch said, oh, I'll have to check on that. I think we can do that. So if you go onto the merchandise store and click shipping, and if it won't allow you, then message me through Facebook. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get it to you. Because yeah, I have a friend in Guatemala that I think we can ship to her. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I have a friend in Guatemala, and then another follower in Singapore. I think Singapore. So we were working on international shipping for them. Okay, 2 more minutes and we're going to get ready and move on. You know what you might want to do in this 2 minutes? Make sure you have clean white, little bit of clean yellow. We don't need much. Clean white, clean yellow. And you might go rinse your brushes out and get clean water. Not a bad idea. Because as I look at my water, there's a lot happening. So we'll come back together in about 2 minutes. Yeah, Philippines, right? Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I'm global, Andrea. I'm global. So silly. So silly. Okay, 2 minutes. Clean water, clean brushes, clean white, clean yellow. Let's go do that. And in 2 minutes, we'll be back and we'll move forward. Okay, did we all make it back? Well, if I see some empty seats, we'll wait another minute. So clean water, clean brushes, a little bit of clean white, a little clean yellow. That's so funny, Julie, that you ask specifically about Ontario. Because I feel like every week we have someone from Ontario join us. And I ask quite specifically if we could ship to Canada. So anyway, if it doesn't work, you just let me know and we'll figure out how to get it to you. For those of you that are from Marysville, this will make sense to you. I'll go talk to Rose at the post office. She'll figure it out. Marie, do you know Rose? Right? I love Rose. I adore her. I'll have to tell you a story about Rose sometime. Did I tell you the story about her dog? Marie, no, I'll have to tell you the story. Sweet Rose. Okay, I do believe it looks like we got everybody back. Oh, no, no, does not hate Rose. Oh, that's like some kind of sin. I don't know what to do with that information. I'm going to pretend that didn't just happen. Okay, let's move on, shall we? I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, okay? It's gone. All right, right? Never happened, Marie, right? Never happened. Okay, so let me find our picture. I could see how that's possible, by the way, Emily. She has kind of an acquired taste. Okay. So let's talk about our picture here. So get an angle where we can see it, and that's kind of a challenge. Here we go. There's a glow behind the sun. I want to put that glow in first. Sorry, am I back? Am I good, Marie? Okay. Somebody was calling me, so my phone, it like muted Zoom. Okay, so we want to put the glow in first behind the sun. And then if you look at the water, the light that the sun is casting in the water, there's yellow and then white on top of it. Okay, let's do that yellow first. So do you remember I talked about the paint that we use is student grade acrylic paint. It's all very transparent. So we have to add a little bit of white to it to make it a little more solid. So I'm going to use, I think, my medium brush. Medium brush will work. Okay. So not your big brush and not your pointy brush, just one of your medium brushes. I'm going to take a little bit of clean white. Little clean white here. Right here in the edge of my yellow, I'm going to mix those two together. I think it's probably a little more white than yellow. I was going to say 50-50, but it's not. I think it's a little more white than yellow. Okay, just a nice, lovely light yellow color. And I'm not mixing very much at all. I don't need very much of it to start. Okay, I have that lovely light yellow color. And then I'm going to take a paper towel. So I've got paint on there, and I'm going to wipe it off, not all of it. I want to kind of dry brush the light that my sun is creating in the sky. So I'm going to shush, shush. So I still have some paint on there. You see on the on the end of my brush. It's very sparse. Okay, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of paint on there. Now, where's my sun gonna go? Right about here? I'm gonna go a little darker so you can see what I'm talking about. So my sun is gonna be right about there. I'm gonna get nice and close so you can see. So that's where my sun is gonna be. And I'm gonna start here in my sun with this brush that doesn't have hardly anything on it. And I'm gonna pull out and away, out and away. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. Not much paint at all. It's very, very sparse. Let's do that again. Medium brush, little bit of yellow and white. I sometimes even like to use my hand because I can see what I'm doing on my hand, right? I can, for some reason, it's easier for me to tell how much paint I have on my brush if I wipe it off on my hand. Oh, that's good right there. Very little, right? I wiped most of it off and now I'm down to just a tiny, tiny bit. Always add more, but once you have too much, it's hard to go back from that. So baby steps here. Baby steps. I've seen people do this before and they get frustrated because it feels like they're not doing anything there. This is one of those things you have to build and build and build. If you add too much paint too fast, you wind up with big yellow streaks, and that's not what we're looking for, right? We want to build slowly. So each time, little yellow, little white, wipe it off. Pull out from the middle of where your sun is going to be. As you do this, remember, some of those rays are going to be longer, some are going to be shorter. Some of them here at the top reach up almost into that pink, right? These might be nice tall sun rays. It's the tiniest bit of pink. Get close, you can see. Right, we just keep building on it. Tiny bit of paint. I'm always starting on the sun and pulling out away because I want more paint closer to the sun and fade as we go out away. Okay, I feel the need while you guys are working on that, I feel the need to circle back around to Rose. So if you're not from here, or if you don't know who Rose is, I need you to Google again, Google search The Secret of Nim. It's a cartoon from like the 80s. And look up the character Is it Auntie Shrew? I think it's Auntie Shrew in The Secret of Nim. That's Rose. Marie, have you seen? You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know The Secret of Nim? Oh, it's terrifying. It's terrifying in the same way that the cartoon Watership Down is like a cartoon. No, there's nothing cartoonish and happy about it. Secret of Nim is kind of the same way. Scarred me. I'm scarred. But Auntie Shrew, Secret of Nim. It's Rose. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to take my, you know what? I'm not going to rinse it out. I went over as if I was going to rinse it out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to continue with that little bit of yellow and white. And I want to put my light down in the water now. Now remember, our water brush strokes all had to stay very parallel, very side to side parallel to the bottom of the canvas. Same thing with the light that we put in the water. Directly below where your sun is. And they're going to be bigger brush strokes, and then they're going to get skinnier as you move down to the bottom. So I'm going to take some yellow, some white, about 50-50. I'm using my medium brush, and I'm using it skinny ways. I'm not using it fat ways. I'm going to use it skinny ways. And I'm going to do little side shushes. So I'm going to start right here at the horizon. Side to side. Side to side to side. The yellow, the white. Right? Fatter at the horizon, skinnier as you go down. You're essentially creating a really long, skinny triangle. Here we go. Okay. Once you have that yellow and white in your water, then you can rinse that brush out. So I've done that yellow and white glow behind my sun, those rays of light. And I have that yellow in the water, yellow, white in the water. And now I'm going to rinse out and I'm going to go solid white. I'm going to go solid white for my sun and a little bit of solid white right down the middle of that light. That reflection in the water. Rinse that out. I'm trying to decide if I want any land here at the edges. If you look at the original picture, it looks like there might be a little bit of land there. Very, very little. I can do that just to show you what it would look like. So I'm going to let that, I'm going to go ahead and do the sun and the water. And then while you guys are working on that, I'll put a little bit of land in here just so you can see what that might look like. So medium brush with white. This is where if you have something you want to trace, you could do that. I'm just going to wing it. Zoop. Oh. So just solid white. About the size of a 50-cent piece. My sun is a little bigger than a quarter. Closer to a 50-cent piece. I say that. Do people even know that anymore? Does anybody know what a 50-cent piece would look like? Yeah. Okay. Marie's saying yes, that's still a thing. Well, you and I do, right? Do the younger ones know? The younger ones. I'm a mess tonight. I'm sorry. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my white in. Oh, good, Emily. Okay, good, good, good. So I'm going to put my white in. I'm going to leave a little yellow show on either side. Take a little bit of white on that medium brush. I want to get that nice bright kiss of light right down the middle there. Again, it's still a little bigger at the horizon, and then it's going to trail off as we head down the canvas. And I'm just using white. Oh, that's pretty. I like that layered look. It's very pretty with that yellow and then that bright white. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. So I've got my white for my sun. I've got the white down the middle of that light that the sun is casting onto the water. I'm going to put just a little bit of land on either side, not any thicker than my pinky, I think. And it's going to trail off to nothing as we get closer to the middle of the canvas. You don't have to do this if you don't want. I'm going to do it so you can see what it might look like. And I think I'm going to use my phthalo blue and my red. I'm going to make a real deep, deep plum color. Phthalo blue and red. Get a really deep, pretty plum. And again, not any thicker than my pinky. I don't know if that adds anything or not. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. That's fun. Makes it a little more interesting. Well, that's nice. I think I do like that. Little bit of red, phthalo blue. Oh, let me see, Kim. That looks good. What do you need help with, honey? I say it looks good. I'm trying to decide if your sun needs to be a little bigger. Oh, the sun rays. I think the sun rays are okay. I feel like the sun might need to be a little bigger. No, I think the sun ray, from what I can see here, I think just the sun needs to be just a tiny bit bigger. You're welcome. This is the challenge though, because before you know it, you're going to have a sun the size of a softball, right? Little bites at a time. Make it a little bit bigger and then step away. And then a little bit bigger and step away. Okay. Oh, fun. You guys, we're getting there. This is happening. Our next step is to do a little bit of practice with some branches and then some greenery. Okay. So let's talk about branches and greenery. We love this painting because the greenery and the branches create a heart, right? It's what we love about this. So I'm already thinking, without drawing a heart on there, I have to put my branches on there in a way that they loosely feel like a heart. So I know I'm going to have a branch here that's a little bit longer, some branches, because that's going to create the peak of my heart. And then they're going to be a little shorter. And then they can get a little longer over here. This is a really good painting to be able to practice tree branches and to be able to practice brush control when it comes to branches. I feel like this is something that some of us are going to take a lot of time on, and some of us are going to fly through it. This is where I remind you that this is recorded. You go at your own pace. You practice as much as you want, because we know if you have branches that get crazy, you just put leaves over them, right? You put some greenery over them and hide them, piece of cake. But that's why this is a really good one to practice on. Find your small round brush, clean it out and dry it off. And when I dry it off, I always pull it across the paper towels to make sure I'm drying it off into a nice point. I'm also making sure I don't have any water drips up here on my handle, right? So my brush is damp, no water drips. Now I'm going to take that pointy brush and I'm going to get a drip of water, just a drip, just on the bristles. So I picked up a drip of water with the bristles. I'm going to come here in the edge of my black and use that little drip of water to thin that black paint down. If I thin it down just a little bit with 1 or 2 drips of water, that's going to help it travel a little further across the canvas. Remember, using caution not to get any water up on the handle of your brush. So you want to go a little thicker than ink. That's kind of the consistency we're looking for. Now, when we do these branches, let me show you on my plate here. I'm going to hold my brush midway or even further out to the end, and I'm going to hold it parallel to my canvas. Let's pretend this plate is my canvas. If I choke up on it like a pencil and I hold it perpendicular to my canvas, they turn into cartoon branches. That's not what we want. We want things that are a little wiggly and they just kind of flow. So you got to loosen up a little bit and you got to hold it parallel, not perpendicular, parallel. And I'm going to drag and twirl. Very gently, I'm going to drag and twirl. I'm going to drag and twirl. Right? Parallel, drag and twirl. A couple things here. If I'm not careful, I have such a light grip on this brush. It's not really a grip at all. If I'm not careful, I'll drop it. And I've been known to drop my brush when I'm doing this because I don't really have a hold of it at all. I'm just gently dragging it. My second word of advice, don't hold onto it tight. And I'm using, watch this, I'm using this much of the paint, this much of the bristle. Boop, that's it. That's it. Let me show you again. Boop, that's it. If you're pressing so hard that you're actually flexing those bristles, you're pressing too hard. You're gonna wind up with a big fat branch. Just the very tip, boop, that's it. Okay, let's do this, shall we? So I thinned my paint down a little bit. I've twirled my brush to get it to a point, and I'm going to pull in from the edges. A little longer there, a little shorter out here. And you see, I'm not thinking a whole heck of a lot about it. If I think too hard about it, I start to tear it apart and destroy it, right? A little longer there. And then they're going to get a little shorter as I get out here. Right, so a little longer, and they're going to get shorter to create that heart. Shorter out here, and then they're going to get a little longer down in here toward the bottom. Starting to create that heart-like shape. You can put as many of these on here or as few as you want. But like I said, this is a really good place to practice. Because if I have a big old fatty patty that gets out of control right there, I'm just going to cover it up with some greenery. Constantly thinning that paint down just with a little bit of water. Practicing really light pressure. Again, if you're flexing those bristles, you're pressing too hard. You shouldn't be flexing those bristles hardly at all. Oh, how nice is that, Kim? Did he know we were talking about pizza? I love that. That's incredibly sweet. Her son brought her pizza for Mother's Day. How nice. Okay. So now you may continue to work on these and practice, but in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and get ready and move on. Okay. And you go at your own pace. You keep playing, you keep doing you, right? That's why we're here, is to learn, right? To experiment, to grow every time. Okay. Happy Mother's Day, Kim. Have a great weekend. Okay. I feel like I could make my branches a little longer, right? I feel like my heart is going to be way out at the edges. Might be okay with that. I might go ahead and stamp some greenery on there and then decide if I need to bring it in a little further with some more branches. I don't want to bring it in too far and then regret that, right? Regret that I've lost it. I've lost all my beautiful colors there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to use paper towel for my greenery. So I've got paper towel folded in half. And then I'm just going to crinkle it to the middle. I'm bringing both my hands into the middle because that creates a lovely little stomper, right? All I did, fold it in half and half again, and then bring it into the middle. Stomper. And I think I'm going to use green and black. Now, if you use very much black at all, you're going to lose all your green. So I think I'm going to take just a little bit of black. Oh, just a little bit of black on there. Just a little bit. And then a lot of green. And this is going to be the heaviest down here in the corners. So until I get the feel for what I'm doing, that's where I'm going to start. Because if I wind up with big blobs down here until I get worked out what I want to do, the blobs are down here where it's going to be solid anyway. So I'm going to start down here at this corner. Right, heaviest there. Oh, nice. I might even want a little more black. And then as I go, head out onto some of these branches just a little bit. Oh, that's fun. Now keep in mind when you're doing this, that we're going for a heart kind of shape, right? So heaviest at the edges and then trails in to where you can see through. Oh, that's fun. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. A little bit of black, green. I'm going to start heaviest down here at the corner till I figure out what I want it to look like. I'm constantly picking up my paper towel and moving it in different angles so I don't wind up with weird little patterns. Oh, that's fun. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. Ooh, it's a whole different kind of scary beast once you get up into that bright yellow orange. Oh, that's fun. I like the paper towel. I like what that's doing. So now if you don't like what's happening with the paper towel, try an old sock. Try an old dish rag. Try a handful of Q-tips. Try an old brush. People ask me why I have, right, oh, you need new brushes. Because I have a lot of brushes that look like this, right? They've been used so much and they have paint that gets stuck down in here, that gets dried down in close to the bezel, and that makes them splay out. Well, that's what this brush is good for now, because it's all splayed out. I can get a little bit of paint on it, a little bit of paint on the ends, And do some little tap, tap, tap brush strokes with an old brush. Right? You got to experiment and see what works for you. Black or green. Tap, tap, tap. Now, as you do this, remember how trees are made, how trees are built. It's not going to be perfectly even all the way around. You're going to have spots where it's a little more greenery. It's going to be a little heavier in some spots. Other spots where you're going to be able to see clear through to the background. Okay. Don't feel like you need to completely make it a completely solid mass all the way around. I feel like mine is a much looser interpretation of a heart. But as you do this, I encourage you to breathe, to experiment a little bit, find what works for you, and play. That's what art's all about, right? We're just playing. Getting out of our comfort zone for a couple hours. Oh, that's fun. Okay. I can't wait till we can all get back together in the studio and I can hear like 50 of these brushes doing this all at the same time. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, so remember, we wanted to go darkest down here at the corners, right? That's what's going to lead our eye in. And I didn't paint the bottom edge. So I will, one of the last things I'll do is take a moment and paint that bottom edge of my canvas. That is the wonkiest looking heart I've ever seen, and I kind of love it. But I can continue to work on it and shape it. I love it. Ooh, that time I got a little more green. Like it. A little darker out of the edges. Oh, fun. Okay. Oh, a sponge, right? Good call, Dawn. A sponge would be lovely too. You probably typed that like 15 minutes ago, but I was so engrossed in my tap, tap, tapping. I didn't notice. I'm sorry. Should probably be a little more alert. Oh, that's good stuff. Now, if you want to up your game a little bit, once you get all the dark on there, what if we take a little yellow and a little white? I don't know. What do you think? Think about where the sun might hit that in different places. Not everywhere, but just in a couple spots. Oh, little yellow, white. That's kind of fun because it's mixing with that green. Oh, I like that. It's the tiniest bit of yellow and white. That's fun. Oh, guys, I think we're going to end early tonight. Okay, before I start to lose you, because I know we're going off in our own directions. Don't forget, next week is Friday, not Saturday. I need to post a reminder up on social. All the paintings up to this point are on YouTube. I managed to get the flamingo loaded on YouTube. I think I'm to the point I need to stop touching this. I keep playing and I'm afraid I'm going to turn it into mud. So I think I'm going to stop, take a little breather, and come back and look at it one more time. It's fun. Okay, so one of the last things you want to do when you're all done playing, and I've not mentioned this in a while, if you're not sure you're done, like I'm not sure if I'm done yet. I haven't decided yet. I won't sign it until I know I'm done, because in my brain, once I sign it, then it's finished. I don't mess with it anymore. But if you're not sure if you're done, take a picture of it on your phone and then turn your back on it for a little bit. Cleanse your visual palette. Clean your eyeballs. Don't look at it. And then look at just the picture on your phone. You'll see it differently, right? Your phone pumps up the contrast. Your phone does all kinds of magic things. And when you look at the picture on your phone, you'll see it differently. And you'll know then if you're done. If I have a project I'm working on at home and excuse me, and I'm just not sure what needs to be done, what needs to be different, what I need to change, I'll look at a picture on my phone. I'll get away from it for a few minutes and then look at a snapshot I took of it on my phone, and I'll know. You just kind of know. So that word of guidance, I don't think I've said that for a while. And then when you are completely done, you have to sign your painting. I think every work of art should be signed. You don't have to sign it on the front if you don't want. You can sign it on the back with a paint pen or a Sharpie, but I think it's important to have your signature on there, signature and date. It doesn't even have to be full signature. It can be like initials. It can be just some little mark, something that you did it, even if you don't plan on ever displaying it anywhere. If you do decide to sign with a paint pen or a Sharpie on the back, never in the middle, always out around the edge where the wood frame is. You don't want it to bleed through to the front, okay? So I'm not going to sign mine yet because I don't know that I'm done yet. I have to ponder it for a little bit. I have to think about it. I watched Jaws night before last. I feel like I might want a little shark fin right there. Just kind of like tucked back in right there, right? Always have to add something fun, something different. So when I'm done, I'll sign it, clean my whole mess up. Again, don't forget, next week is Friday, not Saturday. That's going to be a fun painting. I'm super excited about it. If you need supplies, please message me at the studio. I will get you whatever you need and put it in the supply cabinet. So I am going to go ahead and sign off here for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been good. This has been a lot of fun. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me through Crooked Door Studio on Facebook or email me. All right. And I will see you all Friday. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, to all the dads too, because dads are sometimes better moms than moms. Anyway, to all of you, happy Mother's Day.